Hey, what's up, everyone? I am finally awake and alive after a 17-hour stream. It was an incredible league start. It was a little rough at the beginning. The league mechanic is very, very rippy. The ascendancies are very cool, but it is what it is. Hopefully, they fix things a little bit. They always do after a couple days. But yeah, be very careful. What I want to do today is I spent a little bit of time just going through PoE right here, going through all of the different corpses that we can raise as specters, as well as looking at all of the different charms. And I want to talk about what you want to focus on for your SRS Guardian. The short of it is that there are a ton of options. Is basically a full customized Build-A-Bear, do-it-yourself type of thing. You can kind of customize this how you want. If you're playing SSF, just if you find anything good, just use it. If you're playing trade, we'll probably converge on finding like a semi-ideal setup, but pretty wild. A lot of people hate Animate Guardian and Spectres because it's clunky, and I get it. It is clunky, but particularly with the power of Spectres this league. Outside of hardcore or SSF or racing or anything like that, once you get to like late maps and you're putting your build together, I think not running a Spectre on this build is just incorrect. I do think Spectres were kind of optional before. They were nice. I think they were good to have, and you should have gone for Spectres outside of a race, because generally they were kind of like temporary buffs. But the Spectres that we have now, as far as I understand, are permanent auras, permanent buffs. I think it is just incorrect to not use a Spectre with the power of the Spectres that we have now. With that out of the way, my most likely recommendation, currently I'm advising you to anoint Inveterate. With the power of the Spectres, I actually think Death Attunement is probably better. Just having one more Spectre, one more aura is incredible, and that loss of spell suppression can actually be made up for in charms. And you can actually overtake how much spell suppression you had in the previous league by getting a little bit extra on the charms, and that's what I'm going to recommend. So let's go over this really quickly. I'll link below. It's just PoEDB/US/corpses. This is the link right here. You can look at all the different corpses. I've also bought a couple of them in the league right here. So let's start off by talking about how you get charms and corpses in the first place. How do you even do it? So at the beginning of every single map, and you've probably already seen it when you're leveling your character, there's this entranceway, this little cavern that goes into the Viridian Wildwood. The charms are purchased from the Primalist, which comes from following the blue wisps, and the corpses are purchased from the Breaker of Oaths, which is by following the purple wisps. So I can see some yellow ones right here, and you can kind of see some particle effects going towards my character. It's just these like very light, they're really hard to see, these very light floaty things that you can kind of go towards. And it's not a 100% chance that you're going to encounter any of the masters. I'm sure you've probably already seen that. And also to purchase these, you don't need to be ascended of that type or anything, but to use the charms, you do want to go to the Primalist. That is the recommendation later on. The charms are so powerful. Although leveling with the Oath of the Magi was crazy. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to be looking for these wisps and kind of just following them. And hopefully it'll bring you towards an encounter, and you're hoping that it's going to bring you towards an NPC that you can purchase things from. So unfortunately, we only have yellow here. I've had really bad luck, actually, trying to find the Primalist. I want to switch to Primalist. I'm still on the Magi right now. So unfortunately, right, so we get an encounter. We didn't get the one that we wanted. Let's just do this one really quickly and keep going. Hopefully we can get one of the NPCs. So they're totally random. They're pretty hard to find. I'm sure there's some tips to find them a little bit better than I can. I've personally kind of struggled to find them. So just keep following the wisps, and then eventually you will run out of like juice. Like if you follow the wisps, you can also reveal more of the forest. If you kind of go off the beaten path, okay, here we go. Look, I followed the wisps, and I found the Warden of Eves. Unfortunately, that is the #1 NPC I don't want to find. But this will show you the example. So we can purchase items, which are the tinctures from the Warden of Eves, and that is the the associated consumable or whatever that you get from the NPC for that ascendancy. So tinctures are for the Warden. Corpses are intended for the Warlock, but they're generic for us, right? Because we can raise them as Specters. And then the Primalist has the charms. So you get the wisps by, killing the monsters, collecting them within here. And then with the currency of the wisps that you have, that's what you have to be able to purchase the items here. And that's it. And so what you're going to be doing is just trying to follow the purple wisps to find the Breaker of Oaths and buy the corpses that we're going to talk about. All right, so first up is the Naval Officer. Also, you're going to see some combos and some synergies here. It's insane. This build got buffed like a lot once we get the right Specters and the right charms. Also, the thing to note is if your Specter dies, you lose it. So you can purchase these on the trade website. I'm sure the prices are going to get kind of high pretty quickly, but you can try to find these yourself. So be very careful. I'm going to be advising you to run minion life, meat shield, everything you can to make them as tanky as possible, because you really don't want these guys to die. If you do unsocket them or anything like that, supposedly, I haven't tested it, there is a workaround that GGG did where when you go into your hideout, you'll see the corpse on the ground. Just be very, very careful. If you have a trigger set up with Flesh Offering, it will consume anything that's on the ground, right? The Flesh Offering will consume the corpse. So just like when you go in and if you're expecting that corpse, do not press a button because you might just consume it and lose it. But anyway, first up is the Naval Officer. This guy's insane. Precision and nearby allies have +10 fortification. So if you know this build, we do recommend getting accuracy on your Ghastly Eye Jewels and just kind of stacking that to get your, get your hit chance to 100% for your minions. However, currently I'm actually running precision at the low level because I don't have any accuracy on my jewels yet. So starting off, that's just insane. And then just having +10 fortification is wild, and you'll see the synergy with the charms in a second. Just having +10 fortification, that is 10% less damage taken from hits, period. And that's going to be stacking in addition to our 20% from our Radiant Sentinel. So that's just going to make us much tankier, and it works for our other minions, keeps our other Spectres alive and our AG and all that alive. So really, really good. Next up is the Forest Warrior. This is the one that I have already. This guy has Culling Strike as well as nearby allies have Onslaught, 20% attack, cast, movement speed, and then just having that Culling Strike. And then since he's Cycloning, the Culling Strike will have, very high throughput right there. Next up is a Primal Thunderbird. It will inflict lightning exposure, which is okay. We don't really care about too much lightning damage, but it's nice to have. And then it also casts Grace, additional Grace Aura, why not? Warlord is really nice. He will share endurance charges with his allies, so making all of us a little bit tankier, as well as cast Vitality. So really nice to have a really big life regen aura. Next up is the Hulking Miscreation, 20% Fizzes Extra Lightning. Pretty darn good. Meat Sack will give you 40% increased minion life for all of your minions. This will just keep them all alive. Just kind of nice to have if you're worried about them dying. The Forest Tiger will do a haste aura. The cool thing about that is then you always have your haste available. You could drop your Divine Blessing haste and switch it over to, Grace yourself if you want to do that. It just opens up additional auras. And then last up is the Guardian Turtle, which also gives you Determination. I really think the ones that I'm going to be aiming for personally early on are the Naval Officer and the Forest Warrior. Just having that Culling Strike and 100% Onslaught will just feel really comfy. And then the Precision just really takes some pressure off of your gearing. You don't have to worry about accuracy for your Raging Spirits. I think the Warlord's really good. I think I'm going to be leaning towards that no matter what. And then after that, it's kind of a mix and mash between the Thunderbird, the Forest Tiger, and the Guardian Turtle. These are 3 auras that we like. Obviously, Haste and Determination first, but then that allows us to also run Grace in addition. Just gives us basically an additional aura. I really, really like these. So the charms are when you go to the Wildwood Prime list, you get these 3 charm sockets that you can put them in. They're basically like Forbidden Flame and Flesh Jewels. They give you baby versions of Ascendancy nodes from other Ascendancies. So you can get Profane Bloom, but at 14% instead of 50%. You can get all sorts of charms. And so I went to the charm modifier list in PoEDB, and I just scrolled through them and I kind of ranked them, calling out the ones that I think are really good. As far as I can tell, all of the charms are just a random 2 rolls of any of these modifiers. You can just look out for any of these. So first off, life regen rate, really good. We're always regenerating a lot. Cursed enemies explode. This is obviously incredible. It also works for your minions. It is Profane Bloom. Because we're going to be using a Profane Proxy, 100% curse uptime, we're going to have a lot of Explodey. Really cleans up your clear. A little bit of max res. If you see it, it's not bad. Not really recommending it. Cannot be stunned while fortified. So this one's incredible because the Naval Officer also gives us fortification. So we will be fortified, then we become stun immune. And that's just really good quality of life. A little bit of mana reservation efficiency. Chance to block if attack or cast recently. This is just more of the Guardian power. A little bit more nice defense there. Every 4 seconds to regenerate life. This is, again, additional Guardian power. We can just boost our current Ascendancy even stronger. So while there are nearby allies, Onslaught, this is you and your allies get Onslaught. There are 5+ nearby allies. So this one, again, allows you to skip using the Forest Warrior. If you get this one, then you don't need the Forest Warrior, and then that opens up an additional aura. Starting off, if you can get the Naval Officer and the Forest Warrior, that's a great combo. But then later on, drop the Forest Warrior and then try to get the Onslaught for the nearby allies, because that then opens up using an additional aura your specters, right? At the very least, you can go for 20% fizzes, lightning, anything like that. And now you can start to see the synergies and the combos. Definitely what you can get, customize it based on what you have access to. I don't know what the prices are going to be or the rarities at all. Increased effect of golem buffs, just nice for our Carrion Golem being a little bit stronger. Increased curse effect, stronger curses, nearby enemies are chilled. This is really nice to get the chill effect back after losing it from the Profane Proxy. Minions gain Unholy Might on kill. This one's okay. Like, the SRS will get a little bit more damage as they're clearing, but they only live about 8 seconds, so it's pretty minimal. You and nearby allies have additional elemental res, obviously really nice. Minions have additional elemental res. Minions have physical damage reduction, just trying to make them, keep that AG and your specters alive. Increased effect of onslaught on you. Doesn't affect your minions, but just really good quality of life for movement, attack, and cast speed. Chance to suppress spell damage. I think this is really, really big. Like I said, I recommend later on dropping Inveterate, getting an additional Spectre, and then get that spell suppression up regardless. I'd probably be looking to have 3 of these if you can, and then just try to get really close to max spell suppression. Flask gain additional charges, stronger flask, and then recover life when used flask. I wouldn't go for these for the build, but if you get a charm with it, just slot it in, right? I think the Onslaught is the main one you're going to go for. I think Profane Bloom Explode, and then spell suppression. Those are like the really good ones. And then, res is really good too. Those are the main ones that I recommend. And then, like I said, with the Spectres, we're gonna have to look for the prices, see where it settles on the market. Also, I missed on the Goliath. I'll probably edit this in the video earlier too when I said it, but the increased skill effect duration also makes your other minions last longer. So your Raging Spirit and your Sentinel of Radiance will be up longer, and that's actually just really good too. As you can see the power, right? We can combine all sorts of things, like the Naval Officer plus the nearby allies onslaught plus the can't be stunned while fortified. I think that that's just like a really good synergy already. Use the Forest Warrior until you can get the onslaught, and then choose, do I want to add Grace? Do I want to haste determination? Do I care about my AG or my Spectres dying? Do I really want to keep them alive? The Meat Sack's really good. I think the Warlord's actually probably way better than the Meat Sack. Just giving that endurance charges, has flat PDR, additional elemental res, and then getting that vitality is really good. And yeah, that's it. How's your league start been going? Hope you guys cruise the campaign and are having a lot of fun. Particularly, I assume you're playing this build if you're watching this video. I hope you're enjoying it and you're looking forward to how powerful it's going to get. It actually got significantly buffed. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm going to go get ready for the stream. It is almost 6 p.m. and I haven't booted up the game yet, really. Yeah, we were up very, very late last night. So I'm excited to play. Hope to see you guys on the stream. Have a good one. Bye.